Remember when the two Coreys were among Hollywood's youngest and brightest? I do. Before we get into this one, just two things. This is just a brief overview. Okay, I don't get paid to do this. It isn't PBS. We're not skirting over anything. It's just a brief overview, like I said. Two, we are going to be talking about substance use and abuse, so if that is something that you can't deal with today, I totally get it, and I will see you in the next one. It was 1971, Rod Stewart's Maggie May topped the charts, A Clockwork Orange premiered in theaters, NPR hit airwaves, and on December 23rd, future teen heartthrob Corey Ian Haim was born in Toronto, Ontario. Corey grew up in Laval, Quebec, in Thornhill, Ontario, and was raised by Jewish parents, Mother Judy and Father Bernie. Like many Canadian children, Corey had an interest and proclivity towards hockey. It was his older sister, Carrie, who was interested in acting at first. Carrie's auditions turned into Corey's success as he began landing commercials at the age of 10. It's a tale as old as time. The older sibling goes on auditions, and the younger sibling ends up stealing the show. His first break came in 1984 with the role of Larry in CBC's The Edison Twins. This led to his film debut in Firstborn and his first run-in with an aggressive male co-star. It was while on the set of Firstborn that 13-year-old Corey attempted to compliment his 37-year-old co-star Peter Weller. Peter threw Corey up against a wall and told him to never speak to him again outside of their takes. Corey said it took 3 assistants to separate them. Peter apologized, claiming that method acting got to him. And while his co-star might have been garbage, the film's producer Stanley Jaffe showed up for Corey, telling Bernie to get his kid an agent in LA. He saw Corey's talent. He knew it would take him places. And take him places it did. 1985 was a big year for Corey, who landed multiple roles in films that had him co-starring alongside the likes of major stars like Sally Field, Gary Busey, Liza Minnelli, and James Garner. At that point, he was still in Ontario, living in a townhouse in North York with his father, who was acting as his manager. But his career was heating up to the point where he was turning down films like Mosquito Coast alongside Harrison Ford. That role would go to River Phoenix. And it wasn't the first time that River landed a role that Corey turned down. He read for and was offered the role of Chris Chambers in Rob Reiner's Stand By Me, but turned it down for the lead in Lucas, the 1986 hit that would turn out to be Corey's big break. In Lucas, he starred alongside Carrie Green, Winona Ryder, and Charlie Sheen. Corey had a crush on Carrie, who was 5 years his senior and wasn't romantically interested in the 13-year-old. He channeled his heartbreak into the role. Lucas earned Corey high praise in Hollywood, with Roger Ebert saying, "If he can continue to act this well, he will never become a half-forgotten child star, but will continue to grow into an important actor. He is that good." At the beginning of 1986, a month before Lucas premiered, Corey relocated to LA and landed a role in the TV series Roomies. It also meant that he was in close proximity to the Warner Brothers lot, where he would spend the month of June filming the cult classic, The Lost Boys. He co-starred alongside Jason Patric, fellow Canadian Kiefer Sutherland, and Corey Feldman. Feldman was the same age as Haim and appeared alongside him in teen mags throughout the 80s. He had starred in movies like Stand By Me, which would have been the Corey's first movie appearance together if Haim hadn't turned down that film for Lucas. Lost Boys launched their friendship, and the pair would appear in another film together the following year, Licensed to Drive. The 16-year-old friends would often disappear together while on set, but were given leeway as they always showed up and got their work done. Leeway wasn't what the teens needed, though. Haim had started drinking at the age of 13 while on the set of Lucas, and it was while working on Lost Boys that he tried pot for the first time. By the time he was working on License to Drive, Haim's substance use had greatly increased. He had been skiing the slopes for a year and a half before turning to a more intense version of the drug. In 1988, he starred alongside Feldman again in Dream a Little Dream, cementing their Hollywood persona as the two Coreys. Haim's reputation as a teen heartthrob went hand in hand with his drug addiction. He tried to play it off, saying, 10 years from now, I'm hopefully going to be in Tahiti or something, kicking back like in my huge mansion if everything goes right. It's all up to me. And it was all up to him, which is why at the age of 18, Haim checked himself into rehab. LA was a dark place in the 80s, and the social scene was built to indulge child stars and the adults who exploited them. Haim had been a frequenter of Elfie's Soda Pop Club, a private teen Hollywood hotspot where underage stars could party without supervision. The Coreys partied alongside the likes of Christina Applegate, Tori Spelling, and Alyssa Milano, who dated Haim from 1987 to 1990. The club was run by Alfie Hoffman, son of Hollywood casting director Bobby Hoffman. Haim eventually stopped going to the club, later saying that he got sick and tired of Alfie and that he didn't think he was a good human being. I mean, a man in his mid-30s running a club for children and hanging out with them. Yeah. After getting out of rehab, Corey released Corey, Haim, Me, Myself, and I, a day-in-the-life video diary that was meant to show Hollywood he was back on track. Unfortunately, Haim delivered obviously scripted monologues about sobriety throughout the documentary while obviously under the influence. He still managed to land Prayer of the Roller Boys alongside Patricia Arquette, but as his drug use continued, the job offers went from blockbuster films to straight to VHS sequels. In 1997, Feldman was directing and starring in the film Busted, which featured Haim. Unfortunately, Haim's drug use was still so severe that he was often absent from filming, and when he did show up, he was using on set. Feldman was forced to fire the other Corey. That same year, Haim filed for bankruptcy. He had been sued by Lloyd's of London for failing to disclose his addiction as a pre-existing condition on an insurance form, and they sought $375,000 doll hairs in damages. His filing indicated that he had $100,000 in outstanding debt and owed another $100,000 to the IRS. His list of assets indicated that the former child star, whose films had earned tens of millions of doll hairs, barely had $50,000 to his name, and that was mostly thanks to his pension fund of $31,000. It was clear that Hollywood no longer wanted Haim, and so he went home to Canada, where he filmed more direct-to-VHS films. In 2001, True Hollywood Story covered Haim's rise and fall. By that point, Haim had been in and out of rehab 15 times. That summer, Haim's mother found him unconscious in his LA bungalow, and he was rushed to the hospital. Feldman appeared in the documentary, of course, and eventually let Haim move into his house that October. Throughout their career, the Coreys had been offered multiple projects to work on, and in 2006, with Haim's career firmly in the dumps, they accepted an offer from A&E to film The Two Coreys. What was supposed to be a lighthearted docuseries that followed the Coreys' daily lives alongside Feldman's then-wife Susie turned dark pretty quickly. Haim was barely recognizable. Years of addiction and dramatic weight loss had ravaged his body. He struggled to get his career on track, openly weeping when he was told that he wouldn't be co-starring with Feldman in the Lost Boys sequel. He did eventually make a cameo, but was using and couldn't remember his lines. It was also during this time that he revealed one of his darkest secrets, that at the age of 14, Haim had been assaulted in an intimate manner by a man that Feldman was acquaintances with. On top of that, Haim had been reliant on prescription drugs for decades. What had been given to him in rehab to aid with his withdrawal had become another lifelong dependency. He relapsed while in Feldman's house, and this, paired along with the admission of his secret, caused a rift between the two Coreys, resulting in production putting the show on a 6-month hiatus. Halfway through season 2, the show was canceled, and Feldman publicly cut ties with Haim, saying, "I'm not going to watch him destroy himself." 10 years after saying he hoped that he'd be kicking back in his mansion in Tahiti, Haim was selling his teeth and hair on eBay for money. The platform pulled the listing, though, as it violated their terms against selling human body parts. Broke and homeless producer Jared McMahon took Haim in and devised a project that would showcase Haim getting sober and healing through music. The show never made it past the pilot episode. Still, Haim begged Hollywood to take him back. He took an ad out in Variety that stated, "I'm back, I'm ready to make amends." He wanted to be the poster boy for comebacks, saying, "I want people to learn from me, see I'm human, and understand that I make mistakes just like they do, but it doesn't have to consume you. You've got to walk through the raindrops, and that's what I'm trying to do." He continued working on those straight-to-VHS films, and in 2010 he began working on The Dead Sea, requesting a clean set. His co-stars said that he seemed hyperactive and in need of attention, often coming to set on his days off. And then came March 8th, 2010. Haim hadn't been feeling well. He was complaining of flu-like symptoms. The doctor checked him over but didn't see anything concerning. But then, 2 days later, Haim went to lie down after feeling dizzy. When his mother, Judy, went to check on him, she found him unresponsive. Haim was rushed to Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, but at 2:15 a.m. that morning, a little over an hour after Judy called 911, Corey Haim was pronounced dead. He was only 38 years old. Initial reports claimed that Haim had overdosed due to the vast amount of prescription drugs that were found on scene, but his autopsy report refuted that. Ultimately, the LA County Coroner's Office found that Corey had passed due to pneumonia and an enlargement of his heart. His death was ruled natural, and his toxicology report revealed that there wasn't anything in his system that had contributed to his death. It was also discovered that Haim had procured over 500 prescription pills in the month prior to his death and had used aliases to acquire many of those pills. Haim was also found to have acquired some of his prescriptions by way of an illegal drug ring that had been running in LA. A Jewish memorial service was held for Haim on March 16, 2010 at the Steeles Memorial Chapel in Thornhill, Ontario, before he was laid to rest at the Pardes Shalom Cemetery in Vaughan. Corey Haim is yet another child star who could have had a life as glossy as the magazine covers he appeared on, if not for the people closest to him who chose to abuse and exploit a child that they were supposed to protect. We will talk about Corey Feldman in the next one. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as you could. If you did, please save it and share it with your friends. It really does help spread the good word of the cult. And don't forget to follow me over on the Tube of the U and the Gram, just in case. I also have a bulletin board here on TikTok. Good day, and may the cult be with you.